You were not born to be comforted. You were born to be tested. Weak minds run to warmth, to softness, to the illusion of safety. They chase approval, cling to routine, drown in distractions. But you, if you are to rise, you must strip yourself of this disease. Comfort lulls you into submission. Comfort sedates your fire. Comfort is the slow poison that robs you of greatness. Pain is the only true teacher. Betrayal is the only real mirror. Suffering is the crucible that forges rulers. Every wound you carry is proof that you were chosen for the harder path. You cannot bend to it. You must sharpen yourself against it. When you are abandoned, you learn independence. When you are betrayed, you learn discernment. When you are broken, you learn to build yourself unbreakable. Do not hide from pain. Devour it. Make it your nourishment, your weapon, your edge. The world does not respect the comfortable. It bows only to those who suffer with discipline, who burn yet do not wither, who walk through fire and emerge untouched. Reject the narcotic of comfort. Seek the sting, the ache, the challenge. You will not just endure, you will dominate. The one who thrives in pain commands those who cannot. Comment: pain is my power, if you choose fire over comfort. First tactic: kill attachment. Attachment is the chain that binds your will. It is the invisible leash around your neck, pulled by others, tightened by your own weakness. You think love, loyalty, and sentiment are strength. They are not. They are vulnerabilities disguised as virtues. To the manipulator, your attachments are weapons. They know your heart is soft, so they aim there. They know you fear loss, so they threaten it. They know you crave belonging, so they exile you. And each time you cling tighter, you bleed more. If you want to walk among predators, you cannot afford such chains. Kill them. Cut ties with dependence. Free yourself from the illusion that anyone will save you, complete you, or carry you. The truth is colder, but it is liberating. You are alone. Alone, you are untouchable. Alone, you cannot be betrayed, for you expect nothing. Alone, you cannot be abandoned, for you depend on no one. Alone, you command yourself, and that is enough. But killing attachment does not mean rejecting connection. It means you own your connections instead of being owned by them. You learn to give without need, to love without weakness, to stand among others but never lean. You become like the mountain, surrounded by winds, storms, and shadows, yet unmoved. Attachment is the desperate grip of the drowning. Mastery is the calm of one who breathes underwater. Every manipulator feeds on the hunger of attachment. When you kill that hunger, they starve. They reach for your weakness and find stone. They test you with absence and find indifference. They threaten to walk away and you nod, unshaken. That is power. When you need no one, when you hold dominion over your own pulse, your own breath, your own presence. Kill attachment and you become dangerous. You are not desperate. You are not fragile. You are not easily controlled. The one who has killed attachment cannot be seduced, cannot be blackmailed, cannot be broken. Such a person becomes a phantom in the battlefield of minds, untouchable, inevitable, feared. Comment: I need nothing, I own everything, if you choose to break the chain of attachment. Second tactic: weaponize your presence. Your presence is not neutral. It is either a weapon or it is nothing. The weak drift through rooms unnoticed, their energy diluted, their voice forgettable. They apologize for existing. They shrink so others may expand. But you are not here to be invisible. You are here to dominate space itself. Your presence must cut sharper than steel, heavier than stone, colder than winter. When you enter, silence should bend. When you speak, words should fall like verdicts. When you stand, you should radiate such stillness that others tremble at the thought of breaking it. This is not arrogance. This is power expressed without motion. Understand this. People believe what they feel before they believe what they hear. They will not remember your arguments. They will not cling to your explanations. They will remember the weight of you. They will remember the shadow you cast. Your task is not to be liked. It is to be undeniable. You weaponize your presence by mastering silence, stillness, and scarcity. Speak less, but make each word strike. Move less, but let every movement mean something. Appear less often, but when you do, make it unforgettable. The world worships what it cannot easily have. The world fears what it cannot easily read. Do not scatter your presence recklessly. The powerful do not exhaust themselves proving they are powerful. They conserve. They choose. They reveal themselves like lightning, sudden, blinding, impossible to ignore. When you walk into a room, walk slowly, deliberately, as though time bends to your pace. When you lock eyes, do not dart away. Hold, make others avert theirs. When you speak, let silence precede your words, so that your voice becomes relief to those starved for it. The manipulator thrives on overwhelming, on flooding, on noise. You will suffocate them with calm. You will crush them with gravity. Weaponize your presence, and you need not even lift a finger. Your silence will haunt more than threats. Your calm will unnerve more than rage. Your stillness will dominate more than force. Presence, sharpened and refined, is a blade no one can parry. With it, you do not chase power, you become it. Comment, "I am the storm in silence," if you choose to weaponize your presence. Third tactic, betrayal is your forge. Betrayal is the fire that burns illusions. It tears the mask off loyalty, off friendship, off love. It shows you the truth. People are driven by self-interest, not by vows, not by words. Betrayal is not tragedy. It is revelation. It is the universe stripping you of weakness, forcing you to see the battlefield as it is. Do not curse betrayal. Thank it. For every knife in your back teaches you where to build armor. Every lie whispered in your ear teaches you where not to listen. Every departure teaches you to stand without crutches. Betrayal is not the end. It is the beginning of a new version of you, one that cannot be deceived so easily again. Most people collapse under betrayal. They sink into despair, licking their wounds, begging for explanations. That is weakness. That is self-destruction. But you will rise sharper. When they betray you, study them, learn their motives, map their patterns, store their treachery as fuel. The enemy has revealed themselves, and in doing so, they have gifted you clarity. Betrayal is the forge, and you are the iron. Heat alone does not make you strong. It is the hammering that hardens you. Each betrayal is another strike, shaping you into something unbreakable. You must become immune to the venom of trust lost. If someone betrays you, you are not ruined, you are refined. Do not waste time in self-pity. Do not waste breath demanding justice. Justice is for the weak. Power is the only response. Betrayal gives you the fire to outgrow, outlast, and outmaneuver those who dared to think you fragile. They have done you a favor. They have forced you to shed illusions you would have clung to. They have made you see with eyes sharper than steel. And once you have been forged by betrayal, you no longer fear it. You no longer cling to people as saviors. You no longer expect loyalty where there is none. Instead, you move through the world with cold awareness, with watchful silence, with the understanding that everyone is loyal until they are not. This makes you untouchable, for you are no longer shocked when the knife comes. You are ready to catch it and use it. Comment, betrayal builds me. If you choose to rise harder, colder, and stronger from every wound. Fourth tactic, master your emotional temperature. Your emotions are the first battlefield. Lose there, and you lose everywhere. Rage blinds, fear paralyzes, desire enslaves. The manipulator thrives on your reactions. They prod, they poke, they whisper, waiting for the spark that sets you ablaze. If you cannot command yourself, you will be commanded. But when you master your emotional temperature, you become a fortress of ice. No storm shakes you, no insult penetrates you, no temptation lures you. You remain still, precise, in control. Imagine yourself as fire contained in steel. The energy is there, but it is caged, directed, lethal only when you decide. Understand this. People test you not with words, but with their ability to move you. They measure your power by how easily you flinch, how quickly you break composure. Every sigh, every twitch, every outburst hands them leverage. But when you stand unshaken, they suffocate in their own frustration. They cannot break what does not bend. They cannot provoke what does not rise. This is not suppression. It is mastery. You do not bury your emotions. You refine them. Anger becomes strategy. Fear becomes vigilance. Desire becomes ambition. You transmute every raw surge into calculated force. The cold man rules the heated crowd. The one who stays calm while others rage becomes the authority. History does not remember the ones who screamed first. It remembers the ones who acted last. Emotional mastery is not apathy. It is control. It is choosing when and where to unleash. It is refusing to let your enemy dictate the tempo of your soul. When others try to infect you with chaos, you answer with stillness. When they press for reaction, you give silence. When they expect surrender, you deliver precision. This is the art of psychological dominance. Practice it ruthlessly. Slow your breath when tension rises. Lower your tone when attacked. Smile when provoked. And in every moment, remind yourself, you are the temperature. They are the weather. Weather changes. Weather is weak. Temperature set by your will is constant, immovable. Those who master this become untouchable. They walk into storms and remain dry. They sit among chaos and remain sovereign. And when the time comes to strike, they strike with a calm so terrifying it paralyzes those who underestimated them. Comment, I command myself. I command the world. If you choose mastery over reaction, power over impulse, sovereignty over chaos. Fifth tactic, silence is a blade. Words are weapons, but silence is sharper. The manipulator thrives on noise, on endless dialogue, on luring you into saying too much. They fish in the river of your words, gathering secrets, weaknesses, desires. Every explanation you offer is ammunition against you. Every protest is proof of vulnerability. But silence denies them oxygen. Silence strangles their game. When you choose silence, you dictate the battlefield. You make them guess, doubt, unravel. They cannot measure what you do not reveal. They cannot exploit what you do not admit. Silence is not absence. It is presence sharpened to a knife's edge. To master silence is to control tension. Most collapse under its weight. They rush to fill the void, to relieve the pressure. They talk themselves into corners, expose themselves, betray themselves. But you sit in silence as though it is a throne. You allow it to stretch, to suffocate, to bend others to your will. You let your enemies hear their own echoes until they fear the sound of their own voice. That is power, when you say nothing, yet command everything. Silence weaponized becomes a tool of intimidation. In negotiation, it makes others offer more than they should. In conflict, it makes others reveal more than they planned. In relationships, it makes others crave your approval, fear your absence, doubt their place. You do not need to raise your voice to dominate. You need only to withdraw it. Silence is not weakness. It is restraint. And restraint, when deliberate, is terrifying. For people fear what they cannot predict. They fear the blank stare, the unreadable pause, the withheld answer. They project their own guilt, their own paranoia, their own insecurity into your silence. And you win without lifting a finger. But silence is not only a weapon against others. It is also a shield for you. It keeps your strategies concealed, your emotions hidden, your intentions veiled. It gives you the space to think, to measure, to strike with precision instead of impulse. Silence teaches patience. Silence breeds discipline. Silence creates the aura of inevitability. Those who speak too much dissipate their power. Those who wield silence condense it into an unshakable presence. Yet silence must not be misused. If it is empty, it is weakness. If it is hesitant, it is cowardice. Your silence must be chosen, deliberate, commanding. Let it hang in the air like a drawn sword, glinting, waiting. Then, when you finally speak, your words land like hammer strikes, carrying the weight of all that you withheld. This is how rulers speak. This is how dominion is built. Learn to wield silence as your blade, and no manipulator will ever pierce your armor again. Comment: my silence cuts deeper than words if you choose to make silence your weapon. Sixth tactic: control the game, never play it. The masses play. They are baited by tricks, pulled into contests, chained to rules they never wrote. They compete for crumbs, fight battles chosen for them, waste their strength chasing illusions. The manipulator designs the board, and the weak willingly move as pawns. But you are not here to play. You are here to own the board. To control the game is to rise above it, to never be lured into traps, never distracted by trivialities, never enslaved by rules that do not serve you. The moment you begin to play by another's design, you lose. Power belongs not to the best player, but to the one who decides what the game is. Look at the manipulators. They bait with gossip, with rivalry, with empty challenges. They tell you who your enemies are, where your worth lies, what you must chase, and the blind obey. They fight shadows, defend egos, exhaust themselves in battles that grant them nothing. Meanwhile, the true master sits above, untouched, profiting from the chaos he orchestrated. You must be that master. Step out of the arena they built. Refuse to bleed for their entertainment. Refuse to play their game. Instead, create your own. To control the game, you must first see it, observe without being pulled in. Study the moves of others as if they are actors on a stage. Notice their patterns, their hunger, their pride. Then, set the stage where they will inevitably expose themselves. Do not rush, do not announce. Let them dance into their own destruction, believing they are free. Influence outcomes without ever being seen pulling strings. When you control the tempo, the terrain, and the terms, you control everything. Never argue when silence will make others collapse. Never fight when withdrawal will starve your opponent. Never chase when your absence will draw them closer. These are not passive moves, they are superior ones. Because control is not about effort, it is about inevitability. You win, not by striking harder, but by ensuring your enemy had no other path but to collapse. The masses crave victory in games they do not own. The master craves nothing, for he already dictates the scoreboard. But beware, controlling the game demands discipline. The temptation to prove yourself, to show your strength, to silence doubters will be strong. That is the trap. The moment you try to prove, you descend back into the game. Proof is for the insecure. Masters need no validation. Their silence is proof. Their calm is proof. Their survival is proof. Their results are undeniable. The manipulator will always try to drag you down, to force you into their arena, to make you play. When you refuse, when you remain untouchable, when you dictate instead of compete, you do not just win, you transcend. Understand this, life is not about playing fair. Life is about writing the rules, bending them, or breaking them entirely. While others beg for recognition, you engineer outcomes. While others scream for justice, you engineer power. While others play desperately, you sit above, pulling invisible strings, smiling as they crown you king of the game they never realized was yours. Comment: I write the rules, I never play them if you choose to control the game, not be trapped by it. Seventh tactic: command through fear and respect. Power is never granted, it is seized, and once seized, it must be maintained. To rule minds, to dominate environments, to shape outcomes, you must command. But command is not built on shallow charm or desperate approval. Command is born from a balance, fear and respect. Respect alone is fragile, fear alone is volatile. But when you weave them together, you create something eternal: authority. The manipulator who tries to ensnare you cannot overcome this force, because fear makes them cautious and respect keeps them loyal. Respect is forged through discipline, mastery, and proof. You earn it not by begging for it, but by being undeniable. Respect flows to those who do not chase it. When you speak little but deliver much, when you promise nothing but achieve everything, when you walk with certainty, when your presence is sharp, when your silence is heavy, People cannot help but respect you. They see strength, they see control, they see someone carved from a harder stone. Respect makes them listen, respect makes them follow, but respect alone is not enough. Without fear, it becomes softness. They will admire you, but they will test you. They will adore you, but they will trespass. You must inject fear, strategically, precisely, not reckless terror, not uncontrolled rage. True fear comes from the knowledge that to cross you is to suffer consequences. To betray you is to burn. To underestimate you is to regret. Fear is the invisible boundary that keeps others in line. It whispers in their ear before they act against you. It slows their hand, makes their heart hesitate. Fear is the shadow of your authority. Yet wield fear without respect, and you create rebellion. Those ruled only by terror plot in silence, waiting for weakness. They obey, but only until they can overthrow. This is why you must balance the blade. They must respect your strength, admire your vision, value your presence, but also fear the abyss of opposing you. The tyrant who rules by fear alone falls. The weak leader who relies on respect alone is devoured. The sovereign who fuses both is immortal. You cultivate respect by demonstrating mastery. Never flaunt it. Let results speak louder than boasts. You cultivate fear by demonstrating consequences. Never announce them. Let one example echo louder than threats. Strike only once, but strike hard enough that no one forgets. Show mercy rarely, but when you do, let it carry the weight of your choice, not their plea. Be the ruler whose approval is coveted, whose disapproval is dreaded. That is balance. To command through fear and respect is to rule without constant struggle. People regulate themselves in your presence. They police their own actions because they do not wish to lose your respect, nor do they wish to taste your wrath. They seek your favor but tread carefully, always aware that your patience is not infinite. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to strike often. Your authority is internalized in them. You live in their thoughts. You bend their choices before they even speak. And remember, command is not given to the loudest. It belongs to the coldest, to the one who does not flinch, to the one who does not beg, to the one who is as unmovable as the mountain, yet as ruthless as the storm. When you become this, the manipulator cannot sway you, cannot deceive you, cannot lure you into weakness. They will bow, whether out of admiration or out of fear. It does not matter. The result is the same. Your dominion is secured. Command is not popularity. It is inevitability. It is the silent agreement that you cannot be ignored, cannot be dismissed, cannot be challenged without consequence. To achieve this state is to ascend beyond the games of mortals. You are no longer one of them. You are the architect of the room, the law of the environment, the unseen crown upon which every eye rests. Comment: I command with balance, I rule with power, if you choose to fuse fear and respect into your unshakable authority. Eighth tactic: turn pain into strategy. Pain is the one truth that never lies. Comfort deceives, pleasure blinds, but pain strips away illusion. It cuts you to the core, exposes who you are, and forces you to confront what you would rather ignore. The weak curse it. They run from it. They bury it under distractions, hoping it will disappear. But you will not run. You will not bury. You will take your pain and make it a weapon. You will carve strategy from scars. You will use suffering as the blueprint of power. Understand this: every betrayal, every humiliation, every wound you've endured is information. Pain is data. It teaches you who can be trusted, who cannot, where you are fragile, where you are strong. The manipulator thinks pain weakens you, but in truth, it reveals the architecture of power. When you study your suffering, you map the battlefield. You see patterns, motives, tactics. You learn not only about others, but about yourself, your thresholds, your triggers, your endurance. Pain, when analyzed, is strategy in raw form, but knowledge alone is not enough. You must transmute pain into action. Do not waste energy resenting. Do not waste hours replaying the injustice. That is the reflex of the powerless. Instead, channel it. Every sleepless night becomes fuel for your discipline. Every betrayal sharpens your insight. Every humiliation strengthens your resolve to never bow again. Pain is the forge. Strategy is the blade it produces. When others crumble under suffering, you will rise with new tactics, new awareness, new strength. Think of generals. They do not win by ignoring losses. They win by studying them. Every defeat is a book of lessons. Every wound on the battlefield reveals where the enemy strikes. So it is with your life, your heartbreaks, your failures, your betrayals. Each one is a map, and the one who maps his pain gains foresight others lack. You will not be blindsided twice. You will not stumble over the same stone. Every scar becomes a landmark guiding you forward. Pain also teaches control. It demands that you either break or adapt. The weak break. They lash out. They drown in bitterness. They lose themselves. The strong adapt. They slow down. They analyze. They grow sharper. The manipulator expects you to collapse beneath suffering. Instead, you stand taller. They expect tears. You answer with silence. They expect retreat. You answer with patience. They expect weakness. You transform into something they cannot predict. That unpredictability is your edge. Do not seek to escape pain. Seek to use it. When you feel abandoned, let it remind you of the necessity of self-reliance. When you feel betrayed, let it remind you to watch for patterns of deceit. When you feel broken, let it remind you that you have not yet reached your true form. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the instructor no one else dares to embrace. It strips away illusions, teaches lessons sharper than any book, and prepares you for battles others cannot even see. Turn pain into strategy, and no manipulator can chain you again. They will look into your eyes and see the fire of someone who has burned but did not turn to ash. They will sense that you do not fear loss because you have survived worse. They will sense you cannot be controlled because you have already rebuilt yourself from ruins. That aura, the aura of one who has mastered pain, is unshakable. It makes you unpredictable. It makes you dangerous. It makes you sovereign. This is how rulers are born, not from comfort, not from safety, but from fire. Your pain is not a curse, it is your crown, waiting to be claimed. Comment, my pain is my strategy, my scars are my map, if you choose to transform suffering into power. Ninth tactic, become untouchable. The final transformation is not strength alone. It is not dominance alone. It is not even power alone. The final transformation is untouchability. To be untouchable is to rise beyond the reach of manipulation, beyond the pull of betrayal, beyond the sting of suffering. To be untouchable is to ascend into a state where nothing external can command your core. You do not bend to approval. You do not shatter under loss. You do not collapse under attack. You stand like a shadow of iron, seen, feared, respected, but never broken. Most people live chained to the opinions of others. They rise when praised, fall when criticized. They chase validation, beg for recognition, cling to affection. Such people are fragile toys in the hands of manipulators. But your validation comes from within. You no longer need applause. You no longer beg for love. You no longer tremble at rejection. You are the source. This makes you terrifying because nothing enslaves you anymore. The untouchable man or woman is not cold, not heartless. They are sovereign. They feel, but they are not ruled by feelings. They connect, but they are not enslaved by attachment. They command, but they are not addicted to power. They stand in a realm beyond need. Untouchability begins with mastery of the self. If you cannot govern your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, then anyone else can. But once you command yourself, no one else holds the reins. The manipulator cannot lure you with flattery because you do not hunger for it. They cannot trap you with fear because you have already faced it. They cannot cripple you with betrayal because you have already forged yourself from its fire. They cannot defeat you with loss because you no longer cling. The untouchable carries nothing that can be stolen, fears nothing that can be threatened, clings to nothing that can be broken. When you become untouchable, your presence shifts. People feel it before you speak. They sense that you are different, that you cannot be moved like others. They become careful with their words, cautious with their actions, because your stillness unsettles them. You are no longer playing in the realm of equals. You are above. They realize they cannot bait you, cannot distract you, cannot bend you. And in that realization, their power collapses. Untouchability does not mean isolation. It means freedom. You are free to walk among men without being bound by them. Free to choose connection without fear of loss. Free to rule your own destiny without interference. But understand, untouchability is not arrogance. It is not detachment born from bitterness. It is calm sovereignty. It is discipline made flesh. It is silence weaponized. It is presence refined. It is fear and respect fused. It is the alchemy of pain turned into strategy, and strategy turned into an aura that no one dares to pierce. Untouchability is not about escaping life. It is about mastering it so completely that life itself becomes your servant. The untouchable one is dangerous because they are beyond control. You cannot blackmail someone who fears no exposure. You cannot manipulate someone who seeks no approval. You cannot break someone who has already reforged themselves through suffering. The untouchable one walks with calm eyes, steady breath, unshaken step, and a presence that feels inevitable. They are not chained to outcomes, not enslaved by hope, not ruled by fear. They move, and the world bends. They speak, and silence follows. They rise, and others lower their eyes. This is the end of the path. From weakness to strength, from pain to power, from manipulation to mastery. You are not merely surviving. You are not merely fighting. You are not merely dominating. You are untouchable. This is the crown you earn when you kill attachment, weaponize presence, master emotion, wield silence, command fear and respect, and turn every betrayal, every scar, every agony into strategy. The manipulator cannot harm you now. The world cannot bind you now. You are free. You are sovereign. You are inevitable. Comment, I am untouchable, if you choose to ascend into the rarest form of power, absolute sovereignty of self.